All right, round 5 fight. It's time for HDreplays versus Select. Man, this is such a good series, and I'm so glad that I picked this up. You know, there's a lot of great games out there in Starcraft 2, but when you see names like HDreplays, Select, EG.Idra, all those big names, you just gotta cast them, and I'm so excited this is an extended series. I still don't know, like I said, guys, if it's a best of 7 or a best of 9, but I do know that it's HDreplays and Select. It's so far tied up at 2-2 apiece. Couldn't ask for anything better, and we'll just have to see how this is gonna go down, because it's time for Shack Plateau, and this is a great map to for these two players to duke it out on. And let's just talk a little bit about this map. It's it's a big map once again, but even though it's big, I feel like in the very late game, Terrans do have an advantage because they can definitely slice the map in half very easily. Not a lot of ground terrain for Zerg to work with. So if Select wants to get into a macro game this time against HDreplays, certainly has the option of doing so, and we'll have to see. Haven't seen HDreplays bust out any cheese yet, that's for sure, and I don't expect HDreplays to. There was like this little phase in HDreplays' career that he was actually, playing really creatively, thinking outside the box, and then he kind of stopped doing that. But what that shows is that HDreplays is capable of playing outside the box. So, having said that, I still don't expect him to do anything crazy, but, I could be wrong. We'll have to see. There's the 14 hatch, actually. So he's going to once again get that quick expansion going. But what a great series between these two players already. I mean, the first game, it was just a great start to it with the auto cheese from Select, and then the second game was another cheese. That one happened to fail. The third game was a little bit of a back and forth, and then we basically had Select kind of just steamrolling through the middle of the map on Xel'Naga Caverns for the win. And the last map, Tal'Darim Altar, pretty much HDreplays just rolling the entire field. I mean, it was just so one-sided. I was pretty much watching like a Grandmasters player against a Masters player. So that was that, and now we have Game 5, and we'll have to see what happens. Now, like I said, it's tied up, so whoever wins this one's going to take the advantage moving forward. And here comes Select. He is going to go ahead and move into the bottom left. They did get cross-spawn. SCV discovers the location of HDreplays, and it will see a spawning pool coming up after the hatchery. So no surprise there, really, from the Terran's point of view, because HDreplays is the kind of player that macros pretty hard. Marine comes out, though, with good stutter set micro. That drone's probably going to die, and oh no! That Marine had a chance to start shooting way earlier, but Select missed it. But he runs another Marine back, so I don't know where that Marine came from. But it will kill off the drone. And so, whoa! HDreplays making a lot of Zerglings here. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but he made 8 Zerglings, and he's making 4 more? No, he's made 8 total, so that's a lot of Zerglings. Now, I wonder if HDreplays thinks there's a 2 racks pressure coming, if he thinks there's like a second hidden barracks or something like that, because he saw a Marine moving back and killing his drone as it ran away. And so maybe HDreplays a little bit worried right now, because he's certainly overproduced in Zerglings, and that is not good for a Zerg player to do, especially, like I said, HDreplays doesn't really like being thrown off his game plan, and now he's moving out across the field to check. Now the thing is, since he overproduced in Zerglings, it might actually prove to be beneficial, because, Select didn't expect this, and oh, he raised the wall up! Got the wall up just in the nick of time, but man, some damage seriously done, losing the command center over there, losing the 2 Marines at the front. That's some pretty devastating losses, and he may end up losing this SCV as well. Nice plays from well, I don't know if it was a nice play from HDreplays. I think it was more coincidental. I think it was just HDreplays saying, oh crap, I should produce some extra Zerglings, because maybe Select is cheesing me again. And those extra Zerglings actually came really handy. So HDreplays coming out with a big victory right there, setting the Terran player back in his build order severely. And now actually Select forced to build the command center on the high ground instead. So that's the thing, really. A lot of times Terran players, they'll build it on the low ground because they want to be greedy. They don't want to waste time with the command center floating up in the air and relocating itself, so they just build it right there. But doing that does leave you vulnerable to some early forces from the Zerg. But now it looks like we're kind of falling back into a more standard setup, because, Select's got these Hellions in the middle of the field now. Totally expected. He's going to have a contain on HDreplays for a very long time, until HDreplays can really push out. And it looks like HDreplays is going to get some Zerglings now. And once again, pretty late speed from HDreplays. So, okay, now at this point, I don't think he's making a mistake or anything like that. This has just got to be his build, and maybe this is his new build against Terran. But I gotta say, I don't know if I really agree with it, because getting speed so late means that your creep spread is going to be super delayed at the front. You're not going to be able to deal with the Hellions. But on the flip side, you are going to be able to join up much, much better than normal. And that's why he's basically double the amount of harvesters that Select has right now. So it is a little bit of a trade-off. Personally, I'm more about getting speed early on, but but Idra knows better than I do. But yeah, his speed is super late right now in comparison to normal speed timings, and so he will not be able to break this contain for a very long time. And as a result, that creep spread, so crucial for Zerg, not going to be coming out here. And not only that, Idra cannot get a third hatchery too. That's actually pretty major. He's stuck on 2 bases for a very long time. And maybe right now Select is like, what's going on? Where's the third hatchery, dude? Because he's got an SCV chilling right here. He's got Hellions on the map, and whoa, he's pulling all of his Hellions back. I don't know if you want to do that. He should keep that contain going for as long as possible. But I think right now Select's feeling pretty comfortable with this. He's probably... Oh, he got a macro command center too! That is really smart. A lot of Terran players nowadays are kind of fielding this macro CC because... Zerg players are all about macro, and if you're going to keep up with the Zerg player, you gotta get a command center, an extra command center. It helps so much. Gets you early meals, gets you more SCVs, but not only that, eventually you can just lift off this command center and bring it over to your third expansion. So I like what Select did right there. It's going to allow him to stay on point with Idra, and finally, Idra pushes out with the creep tumors. Finally, he gets the third hatchery going. That may not happen because of that SCV, but finally he moves out because he has speed. Considerably late, but he does have a lot of workers. He definitely traded off in that advantage department by not having that early speed. And now it looks like he is going to go ahead and go for the hatchery at the top, but that hatchery is going to be detected by these Hellions, and those Hellions are roasting that hatchery away. Will force to cancel, and look at this Idra going for a potential run by here. I don't think that's going to work. Oh, salvage! No. I thought Select was going to salvage there. Select thinking about moving out at that moment in time, but that could have been disastrous. Thankfully, he didn't do it. And now these Hellions going to greet the Zerglings in the middle of the field, and they are going to get surrounded. Beautiful surround by Idra, but the Hellions find a little opening, just a little crease to escape from the Zerglings, and as a result, most of these Zerglings will probably go down. Great micro right there, letting the weakened Hellion run away, and he doesn't lose a single one. So brilliant micro from Select, and it continues to be a 2-base versus 2-base affair, with Idra just now grabbing the third once again. So totally in Select's favor at this point, especially considering, like I said, that macro command center. That harvester advantage has pretty much flattened out at this point, and that doesn't bode well for a Zerg player. So we'll have to see what Idra cooks up now at this point, because he is pretty far behind, if you ask me. And he's just now making a lot of mutas. Now this is what got him back in the game on Zelnaka Caverns. He busted out a bunch of mutas. He was able to do a lot of damage. We'll see if he can do it again. But there are a lot of Marines waiting, and the missile turrets are coming up right now, so I don't think Idra is going to be able to do much, especially with the medevacs there. It's just not enough mutas to really punch through and do enough economic damage, and now that the turret is up, those mutas are going to have a very hard time of breaking through and doing what they need to do. So those mutas are pretty much, at this point, a waste of money, and they've kind of been corralled into the top right-hand corner of the map. Oh, be careful, Idra. You've got to be careful with these Mutalisks right now. You've invested so much gas into them. Don't lose them. And so he's going to run them away, and he will get out of there. But the nice thing here is that because Idra did go for mutas, the nice thing here is that he was able to get a double expansion going. And I guess even though the mutas didn't, kill off any SCVs, at least he got a bunch of hatcheries going, and he will be able to get a lot of economy rolling. Also forces a cancel on one of those add-ons, and forces a stim out of those Marines as well. But at this point, I'm a little bit concerned for Select all of a sudden, because he's not getting the third command center yet. At some point, he's going to want to lift this bad boy up, and he's going to want to place it right here, get his siege tanks on the ledge, and then bunker up this location. Surprised he hasn't grabbed the third yet, and here we go. There it is. So he's going to go ahead and lower the supply depot, and it's time to push out. He's going to have to get that third command center up right away. He's also going to be able to deflect these Mutalisks. So a little bit of poor timing on Idra's part right there. He moves in a little bit too early. Should have waited for the forces to push out on the third and then move in to strike the SCV line. But it looks like now is the time to lift off, and now is the time to get that third command center going. And those Mutalisks once again trying to delay that third command center from landing down, but the Marines are just too many. There's too many Marines here. And even though the Mutalisks have +1 weapons, you know, the Marines have 1 weapons themselves, and they have medevacs healing them, and it's just not enough Mutas to do the damage they need to do. Idra right now needs to make some more Banelings, I think. I don't know if he's got enough Banelings to kind of wreck through that army. And where's the speed? Oh no, Baneling speed so late. He just now got Baneling speed, and that is a serious mistake. His speed is very, very late this game, and that's bad news. Idra should have got the speed much earlier. So now he's lost a window to basically attack this third command center, and if Select decides to push out, he may be a little bit vulnerable because he doesn't have Baneling speed. Idra realizing that he needs to keep Select on the back foot right now, and he's doing just that. He's flying in here. He knows there's this window where he's kind of weak. The Banelings are very slow, and so he's actually running in here. He's got to be careful, though. Loses quite a few Mutalisks. He just can't risk losing that many forces, and there you guys see the units lost tab. Idra at almost 2,000 resources worth of cost in his raw units, and Select really about half of that with his Marines and his tanks. And now it looks like the Mutas running in once again. The flock is getting quite big, but every time it gets big, you know, every time it gets to that crucial size where it just becomes unmanageable, a couple more Mutalisks go down. A couple more of them bite the dust. And now Select is going to go ahead and get those Thors out. Man, those Thors are going to be so good against these Mutas. They're just going to force them to spread out. The Marines then can work their magic. But wow, Idra's got a lot of Lings back here. They are at 1-2 upgrades. Infestation Pit also coming down, and now he's got Centrifugal Hooks, so he can run very fast with the Banelings, but he loses a lot of Mutas once again, not paying attention. Idra's awareness here, or lack of awareness, is costing him, and he's losing huge clumps of Mutas left and right. And Select couldn't be happier about that. Also preparing to grab another command center down to the bottom right-hand corner of the map. But he may actually make a big push here before he does just that. And this is the thing on this map in the very, very late game. I do feel like splitting the map in half certainly helps Terran much more. Now he's going to siege up all the tanks. Oh, those Zerglings almost ran in at the wrong time. And actually, Select almost was unsieged at the wrong time. Thankfully, he sieged up right there. But Idra going to fly in with these Mutalisks once again, devastating forces of Mutas. But, you know, Select wisely leaving a huge clump of Marines back in the main to deflect any kind of Mutalisk harass. That was very smart of him, although he doesn't have any medevacs here, so he's really going to run short on stim. He stims once again. These Marines are very weak, and I think if Idra wanted to, I don't know if he realizes the HP. Yeah, he does. He can take out all these Marines so easily, and the medevac arrives there a little bit too late. So that was pretty bad for Select, and now he's going to lose almost all mining at the main. Oh, he just went up to 23 workers killed, Idra did. And the costs of battle are continuing to mount up. And this is, you know, war is an expensive, it's an expensive venture. And if you can't keep up with your economy, if your civilians back at home aren't making that money, then eventually, you know, your country's going to crumble. And Select right now is kind of falling apart a little bit. I think he made some poor decision making right there with the overstim, and that costed him dearly at the mineral line. Now, and it looks like Idra's going to run in once again with these Zerglings down to the bottom right. I love the delay tactic here. Just leaving some Zerglings underneath the command center. Very smart play. Keeping Select on 3 bases for as long as possible, and the constant harass of Mutalisks. I don't credit this enough, but Idra is one of those players that will harass with Mutas almost all the time. Look at how active he is with the Mutas. I guess right now is a bad example, but there we go. He's always moving them around the field, and that's a really good hallmark of good players. And now that Muta number getting about a 30% growth right there, and that is pretty large. That's such a big flock of Mutas, my goodness. 1 full control group plus 5. A couple of Zerglings running in here. They don't have the crack upgrade quite yet, it looks like. So they are going to go down right there to those Marines and tanks. But one thing that's certainly going well for Select is he did just get the 4th. So he needs to hold that location off. But the thing about holding that off is he's going to be spread thin. He's got to not only, you know, keep tanks at the top, but also tanks at the bottom. And a couple of Mutas and Lings running in here. Not a couple, a lot of Mutas and Lings running in, but they decide to think better of that and they run away. This game is getting pretty intense. 41 workers to 80. Somehow Select fell majorly behind this game, and he's just going to push out here. Now, this is the tough thing to deal with if you're Zerg. Once those tanks siege up in the middle of the map, very hard to deal with. Select is treading dangerous ground, though, because there's so much creep here, and he really needs to be careful. Those Meatless are so large in numbers, but there's not enough Banelings, it looks like. There's the Banelings coming in the background, and a couple of Broodlords as well, so Idra may wait for the Broodlords, but he's got to save this hatchery in the pocket expansion. Oh! Mutas, be careful! Idra losing a huge clump, or at least taking a lot of damage to those Mutas, and he doesn't want to do that. Those two Thors getting some great volleys off, and the hatchery almost going down there, but not quite, as Idra just has barely enough Zerglings and Banelings there to hold it off. But there, more Marines come in, fresh recruits pick off the hatchery. This is such a tense moment in this game, because any wrong move essentially is going to cost these two players their game. This is game 5, and momentum is going to play a huge part. So obviously none of these guys want to make a mistake. Idra waiting for those Broodlords. Now going to come in with a 2-pronged attack. As he's moving in with the Broodlords, he's going to harass this orbital command, but there are Marines there to hold that off. The Broodlords striking here, but they're leaving themselves vulnerable. But there's no Vikings here. So Idra trying to go for those Mutas in the background as he moved in with the Broodlords. That was largely unsuccessful, but now he's going to push it in the middle of the field, and all those tanks out of position. Great play right there from Idra. That was much better. And Select, I don't know if he can keep this war of attrition going on, because if you look at the economy, it's 45 to 74. He's not even mining here in the 4th expansion. He needs, there he goes, he's just getting some refineries up, but he needs to send SCVs there. He needs to rack up his count. He needs to get more orbitals, calling down meals. But I just don't think he can keep up this war of attrition against Idra. It's just too hard to do. And really, Idra's just mining happily away. In fact, he is just mining almost every base on the map right now. Well, at least he has a hatchery at every base on the map right now that he can possibly control on his side. So things are looking very bright for Idra's future. With the money he's making, he can send his little Zerg offspring to college and then some. He's got 5,000 banked up. What the heck is going on? This is the same situation that Select found himself in the last game. And now it's just going to be an overrunning of the Terran player. Look at how many Broodlords there are, but there's quite a few Ghosts here. The Ghosts are getting some great snipes off. Those Ghosts can do so much damage, and look at the Broodlords going down to constant sniper fire. Oh my goodness, Idra just taking a huge loss in terms of gas, and that's really the most devastating thing. While he has a lot of minerals, he doesn't have that much gas, and he just lost every Broodlord. Oh my god. And what does he do? He knows he's short on gas. He makes 86 cracklings. So take some of that and stick it in your pipe and smoke it. Oh no, he doesn't have crack upgrade. Oh no, this is a serious mistake from Idra. I don't know why he didn't get the upgrade. This is something that actually a lot of Zerg players will do. They make the mistake of not getting that final upgrade for their Zerglings. Maybe he's short on gas, maybe he forgot, but this is going to be bad because those 86 Zerglings without the crack upgrade are so much, they're just futile. Really, they're not as effective against the Terran army. So this is pretty bad, I think, for Idra. Now, will he be able to make something out of this? He's pushing in once again. Select also engaging here at the same time, getting a couple of snipes off on the Ghost, but the Baneling's running in here. Bungo's coming down. Zergling's running in. Even without the crack upgrade, that's quite a few Zerglings. And where is the rest of Select's army? Looks like half of it is being lazy down to the bottom. That could cost Select. And he is microing these Marines away, but he is not using these Marines over here, and that is a costly mistake. I don't know what he's thinking right now. He needs to be microing a couple of Vikings on the field, but there's infested Terran, anti-air, and corruptors as well. And now the Marines coming into the battle, and there's the lazy Marines doing what they're paid to do. And they come in and they clean up the Broodlords, but so much Zerglings on the ground. I mean, even without crack upgrade, they're still pretty damn good. It looks like Select may hightail it to the high ground. No, he is going to go ahead and retreat back to his barracks in the middle of the map. But that was a crazy trade right there between both players, and I'm not too sure who came out ahead. I mean, the one thing certainly that bodes well for Idra is he can continue this war of attrition in terms of minerals for a very, very long time. He's got tons of money, so his Zergling production is going to be non-stop. And hopefully, for Select's sake, he figures something out to deal with that. Oh, that Viking needs to stay alive right now. It's his only form of long-range anti-air against the Broodlord. He does keep it alive, but back and forth right now. It looks like Idra once again preparing the large army of Zerglings, just the swarm of Zerglings is preparing once again. Idra is probably going to barrel everything down the middle of the field, using all of his gas on Broodlords. And if Select cannot make a hold here and now, he's going to be in a terrible position to win this game. He does have some ghosts. Those are going to be key. He's got to keep them alive. He gets a great snipe off on one of the Broodlords. One of the ghosts are in the front, a little bit too far in the front. It will get picked off, but he snipes almost every Broodlord. That Broodlord made it out with 1 HP. Oh my god, how did that Broodlord survive? It's now regenerating, so I don't know how that Broodlord made it out of there, but it's basically its internal organs are combusting right now from the sniper shots. There's sniper rounds lodged inside of its veins and its organs. And there's the Thor, finishes it off. But you know what? I don't know if Select's going to be able to withstand this much firepower. We'll just have to see. That's a lot of Zerglings running in. The Marines forced to stim, and the Banelings running in here. Select needs to spread his Marines out. Oh, terrible spreading right there, and the Banelings ravage everything on the ground. And Select is going to lose control over the middle of the field. Not much he can do now, unless those reinforcement Marines are going to be enough. He loses mining at the pocket expansion as well. Marines running back into the bunker. More Zerglings and Mutas flooding the middle of the map. And now it's just a runaway game. Idra is going to tear it up, and there's nothing Select can do at this point. Absolutely nothing. He's lost all control over the middle of the field. He's bringing SCVs out to fight as well. It's always a sign of desperation from any player when they're fighting with their workers. Maybe he can push this back, but those Infestors have Fungal! There it is. There's a great Fungal on those Marines. Not quite hitting the SCVs, but it doesn't really matter. The Marines retreat inside the medevac. And now the barracks in the middle of the field are going to go down as well. It's just terrible for Idra. I don't really know what Select can do. I mean, terrible for Select. I don't know what Idra can... I don't know what Select can do right now, because he's lost so much. He's lost the pocket expansion. He's lost the barracks in the middle of the map. This is burning down. He will not be able to get the repair in time. So just a demoralizing loss right there. And Idra continues to pour on the hurt as he's macroing away, and he's even grabbed the 6 o'clock expansion as well. So really the only mining that Select's got, actually he's still mining healthily off of 2 bases, so I'll give him credit for that. But you know, his supply is so low right now. He's at 99 or at 103 now, under 174, and that does not bode well for a Terran player when the Zerg army is twice your size. Really, what is Select gonna do? This is just getting quite insane, and I think, there's so many Broodlords here. I think Idra's just going to make one last push with all of his Broodlords, and if he doesn't make it happen this time, then I don't know what else to say. I mean, it's overdue now, the GG. And where is the crack upgrade? Speaking of things being overdue, I think this game would have been long gone if Idra had gotten the crack upgrade. I mean, seriously, get your crack, kids. And I don't mean that literally. I mean, get your crack for Zerglings. I don't know what Idra is thinking, because this game should have been over. It should have been written out, and there it is, finally the GG. So Select finally surrenders, realizes that this is a desperate and hopeless situation. And that is Game 5 with Idra winning, and that will bring this series to 3-2. But it doesn't mean the series is over yet, because there's still more games to come. We're going to have game number 6 coming out after this. I hope you guys enjoyed the broadcast so far. I'm actually getting a little woozy now from the constant usage of my adrenaline and all my energy and smacking these Red Bulls to the face. I'm actually really getting woozy right now, but I'm going to man it up for you guys and cast the rest of this series. I really want to see actually what happens and who wins. So stay tuned, guys. Game